Abedeen, managing partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, so
good to be with you.
Yeah, we've got some volatility in the overall market. When we look at retirement in a volatile market, when we look at bear market territory, the fears start to rise in investors across the board. What's your outlook here for, investors and traders in this type of environment where a lot of them haven't seen this type of volatility or pullback in the equity market?
Yeah, absolutely. With the rate hikes going on, inflation, gas prices, which are a real big concern moving forward, a lot of people are wondering, especially in retirement, if they're going to be okay. And so we look at this as, look, the 5 years before you retire and the 5 years after you retire are by far the most important, because that's what really sets that foundation. So one of the things that you should consider are consumer staples that will reduce some of that volatility. Utilities, gold should be a consideration also a little bit. And also fixed accounts. Now, I'm not talking bonds, but consider something that is guaranteed that will allow the retiree or someone who's worried about volatility to have some source of guarantees to withstand this volatility that's going on.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of these segments, and I always look at them when you mention utilities and consumer staples. We've seen a lot of flows into those areas, even in real estate. And that equals dividend yield. Is that what you're looking at here at this point?
That's exactly what we're looking for, is to reduce that volatility, especially in retirement. So I've got 2 decades of advising clients who are approaching retirement or have already retired. So there's 7 key areas that I always look at. Risk, the amount of risk you're taking. Is it the right amount? Are you taking too little or too much? We do want, obviously, growth in the market. We do expect these markets to rebound and be ahead. Historically, that's what always happens. A second thing, which I see many people miss, is the taxation. Now, that is going to increase over the years, so keeping that under control. Internal cost of funds or fees will jeopardize retirements also. And here's one, Tom, that I think people tend to miss is Roth conversions. Especially in this environment, you're able to do Roth conversions at a discount. Income planning, which I talked about, kind of the fixed side of it, to allow your growth to do what it's supposed to. Long-term care and wealth transfer, that's a secondary component, but it should be taken into consideration. So the total plan will allow you to withstand this crazy market that we're experiencing today.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the hardest things for investors is to take the losses, even though if they're on paper, but getting out of the market in these type of situations, I'm sure you don't advise people to do that because timing the market, as we all know, is one of the most difficult things, or if not impossible. So how do you reassure your investors at this point that, hey, you know what, it's still okay to be exposed to specific areas, but maybe do you actually rebalance a little bit more in these volatile environments?
Absolutely. My crystal ball doesn't work anyway. Otherwise, yeah. This would be really easy to do. I just wrote an article, and it was titled, "Are you wearing blinders that could spoil your financial decisions?" And that is because sometimes people will try and time the market. They'll get out of it because it's dropping. And you can avoid a lot of these mistakes if you have a total plan that's working together. And so I absolutely think people should be invested in the markets long term. They should consider some consumer staples, utilities for their dividends. But at the same time, while markets are down, think about conversions to Roth, because when they come back up, that initially is going to be tax-free.
All right, great look and a great message here, I think, Reid, going into this volatility for investors, especially in the long term. Appreciate it, Reid. Have a great day.
You too, Tom. Thanks.
All right, that's Reid Abedeen, managing partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group.